Hello everyone and welcome back to AP Bio with AP Playground. Today we're covering topic 8.6, Biodiversity. Not too much to discuss today, but we'll be describing the relationship between ecosystem diversity and its resilience to changes in the environment. So essentially the benefits of biodiversity. And we'll also discuss the addition or removal of any component of an ecosystem and how that can affect its overall short-term and long-term structures. And our suggested skills argumentation 6E, predict the causes or effects of a change in or disruption to one or more components in a biological system. So first up, what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is the variety of living things and life processes within a population, which is a group of species, a community, which are multiple species, or even an ecosystem, which includes both living and non-living factors, biotic and abiotic factors. And so biodiversity is going to be looking at the number of species in this environment, the number of individuals of each species in the environment. Like we discussed in 8.5 in community ecology, not having a balanced number of individuals in each species within an environment, within a community, within an ecosystem can also be detrimental. And so by having more species, by having a balanced number of individuals of each species, that means an ecosystem has more resilience. There's going to be less competition, and just like genetic variation, there's a higher chance that it'll be able to adapt to changes. So over here within this ecosystem, we see lots of biodiversity. We see many different animals, we see many different plants, and it doesn't seem like resources are being hogged or there's competition for them. So we see a resilient ecosystem that will be able to adapt to change. And so there are key elements of an ecosystem that are absolutely necessary in order for the ecosystem to survive and adapt to changes, and such as vital abiotic factors, including sunlight, water, shelter. Producers are a must-have because without them, there's no energy that passes on to higher trophic levels, because consumers are not photosynthetic, and so photosynthetic organisms, producers, are absolutely necessary in order for the rest of the ecosystem to have energy. There are dominant species, which are the most abundant in a community, and as a result can often exhibit resilience when the environment changes. So there's more variation within the dominant species, and as a result, when the environment changes, there's a higher chance that the dominant species will have, an individual of the dominant species will have a trait that can allow it to adapt to this new environment. This is natural selection and genetic variation at its finest. But there's also keystone species, which are not as abundant potentially as dominant species, but they have control over the community structure due to their niche, due to their abiotic and biotic factors used in their role within the environment. And generally, when a keystone species is removed, the entire community collapses, and a single change in the community can have a large effect. And they're called keystone species because they act like the keystone in the arch, which is this guy right here. If this keystone is removed, the entire arch is going to crumble. And one common example are going to be sea otters. So sea otters feed on sea urchins, and sea urchins feed on kelp. And so if sea otters are removed from their populations like they were when there was a lot of hunting for otter pelt and fur, what happened were the sea urchins completely decimated the kelp population and the entire ecosystem collapsed because there were now not enough producers for the ecosystem. So biodiversity is a good thing. It means there's a higher chance that the environment, the ecosystem, will be able to adapt to a change because there's going to be more variation. So that means there's a higher chance for one species, one individual, to be better adapted to a change in the environment. And most crucial to an ecosystem are going to be keystone species, which when they're removed, the entire ecosystem has the potential to collapse. We'll see you in 8.7 to discuss disruptions to ecosystems.